Jaya Sadguru Srila Prabhupada. Divine grace, avoid Charan Bhaktivedanta Swami, Shri Bhakti. Jayam Vishnupad Paramhamsa Privajagacharya Astovatara Sadasya Maharaj Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj Prabhupada ki, Ananta Bodhi Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Rantraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki, Nitai Gaura Brahmanande. All glories the sum of the Buddhis. All glories the sum of the Buddhis. All glories the sum of the Buddhis. All glories to the lotus feet of Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga.
Whatever is comfortable. Whatever is comfortable.
Right from the we might have faster in my car.
So today's text is from chapter 2, Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 2, text 1. Chapter 2, contents of Gita summarized, text 1. Chapter 2, text 1. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. No, we don't have that. So, please repeat. Sanjay Uvacha Tam Tata Kripaya Vishtam Ashru Purna Kulekshanam Visidantam Idam Vakyam Uvacha Madhusudana Sanjay Uvacha Tam Tata Kripaya Vishtam Tam Tata Kripaya Vishtam Ashu Purna Kulekshanam Ashu Purna Kulekshanam Visidantam Idam Vakyam Visidanta Idam Vakyam Uvacha Madhusudana Uvacha Madhusudana Sanjay Uvacha Tam Tata Kripaya Vishtam Ashu Purna Kulekshanam Vishidantam idam vakyam Uvacha Madhusudana Tam tata kripaya vishtam Ashu purna kulekshanam Vishidantam idam vakyam Uvacha Madhusudana. Anyone can try?
Sanjay Vacha
Sanjay Vacha
Tam Tatha Kripaya Vishtam Ashru Purna Kulekshanam Vishidantam Idam Vakyam Uvacha Madhusudana
Sanjay Vacha Tam Tatha Kripaya Vishtam Ashwapurna Kulechanam Vishidantamidam Vakyam Uvacha Madhusudana
Sanjay Vacha
Sanjay Vacha
Tam Tata Kripaya Vishtam
Tam tata kripaya vishtam
Ashru Purana Kuleshanam
Ashru purna kulekshanam
Vishidantam Idam Vakyam
Vishidantam idam vakyam
Uvacha Madhusudana
Uvacha Madhusudana. Anyone else?
Sanjay Vacha
Sanjay Vacha
Tam Tatha Kripaya Vishtam
Tam tata kripaya vishtam
Ashru Purna Kulekshanam Vishidantam idam vakyam
Vishidantam idam vakyam
Uvacha Madhusudana
Sanjay Vacha Tam Tatha Kripaya Vishtam Ashru Purna Kulekshanam Vishidantamidam Vakyam Uvacha Madhusudana.
Anyone else?
Sanjay Vacha
Sanjay Vacha
Tam Tatha Kripaya Vishtam
Tam tata kripaya vishtam
Ashru Purna Kulekshanam
Ashru
Vishidantam Vidam Vakyam
Uvacha Madhusudana. Anyone else?
Sanjay Vacha Tam Tatha Kripaya Vishtam Ashupurna Kulechanam Vishidantam idam vakyam Uvacha Madhusudana.
Chapter 2, text 1. Anyone else? Okay. Please repeat. Sanjay Vacha. Sanjay said. Tam unto Arjun. Tata thus. Kripaya by compassion. Avishtam overwhelmed. Ashrupunakula full of tears. Ikshanam eyes. Vishidantam lamenting. Idam these. Vakyam words. Uvacha said. Madhusudana the killer of Madhu. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Swami Srila Prabhupada. Sanjay said, seeing Arjun full of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears, Madhusudan Krishna spoke the following words. Please repeat. Sanjay said, seeing Arjuna, full of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears, Madhusudan Krishna spoke the following words. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Material compassion, lamentation, and tears are all signs of ignorance of the real self. Compassion for the eternal soul is self-realization. The word Madhusudan is significant in this verse. Lord Krishna killed the demon Madhu, and now Arjuna wanted Krishna to kill the demon of misunderstanding that had overtaken him in the discharge of his duty. No one knows where compassion should be applied. Compassion for the dress of a drowning man is senseless. A man fallen in an ocean of nations cannot be saved simply by rescuing his outward dress, the gross material body. One who does not know this and laments for the outward dress is called a Shudra, or one who laments unnecessarily. Arjuna was a Kshatriya, and this conduct was not expected from him. Lord Krishna, however, can dissipate the lamentation of the ignorant man, and for this purpose, the Bhagavad Gita was sung by him. This chapter instructs us in self-realization by an analytical study of the material body and the spirit soul, as explained by the Supreme Authority, Lord Sri Krishna. This realization is possible when one works without attachment to fruitive results and is situated in the fixed conception of the real self. Om Gena Timirajasya Gyana Gena Shalakaya Chakshu Mitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupa Sadijatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Inabandhu Jadarpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhan Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Pancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhuva Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swamini Kinamini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharini Nirveshesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Disitani Namo Mahabharanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namni Goya Trishe Namaha Ananda Lilamaya Vigrahaya Himavya Divacha Vishundaraya Tasmi Mahaprema Raspadaya Chaitanya Chandaya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandaya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandaya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandaya Namo Namaste Hare Krishna. So I'll read the Sanskrit and the translation. You don't have to repeat after me, not this time. Sanjay Vacha Tam Tata Kripaya Vishtam Ashru Purnakulekshanam Vishidantam Idam Vakyam Uvacha Madhusudana. Sanjay said, seeing Arjuna full of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears, Madhusudan Krishna spoke the following words. So, Hare Krishna, thanks, nice to be back here. I haven't been here in a while. So it's nice to come back to the service. So through the Parampara, my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, hopefully I'll be used to tell you what they want you to hear. So this is contents of the Gita summarized, the chapter 2 title. Text 1. And Sanjay is describing what he can see in the battle of Kurukshetra to Dhritarashtra. Sanjay had been given the power to be able to have what's called remote viewing, okay, which is sitting in one place and seeing what's going on in another place. Okay. So this was been given to him because Krishna is behind everything. Sarva, Karana, Karanam, the cause of all causes. And the way the whole Mahabharata had unfolded up to that point, so much effort had been put in to try to avert the war, not have it. But now, Dhritarashtra's sons and those that are supporters of them, they want to fight, and so the fight has now been arranged. Krishna is the one that is the chariot driver for Arjuna. And before the fight was to take place, the war was to take place, he asked Krishna, Arjuna asked Krishna to put the chariot in the middle where he could see the other side as well as his own soldiers. Then when he saw that those that had helped bring him up, those that had trained him in the military arts, in the military science, and those that were supposed to be his relatives, including of all people, Bhishma, were on the other side, then he began to see no use in engaging that type of war against the people that matter to him so much. At least some of them were very dear to him. And so this is why his own nature kicked in. Arjuna is very compassionate. He's a very balanced person. He's a very knowledgeable person. Not only in the military arts, but in devotion. Arjuna is a pure devotee. So he's looking at it, but he's looking at it from the material standpoint though. He's saying, here are my relatives, why should I fight this fight? And so his emotions kicked in. And so Sanjay is describing how Arjuna felt when he saw what he was about to face. So the translation, Sanjay is saying, seeing Arjuna was full of compassion, his mind was depressed, his eyes were full of tears, he was crying. Then Krishna, the killer of the Madhu demon, spoke words to try to put his mind in the proper perspective of what he was facing. So in the purport, the Prabhupada says, material compassion, lamentation, and tears are all signs of ignorance of the real self. In other words, what he's saying, Srila Prabhupada is saying is, in fact, I shouldn't even try to describe it. He himself says, Srila Prabhupada says, compassion for the dress of a drowning man is senseless. If a man is drowning and you're going to go after the dress and not the man himself, what's the use? What's the use? And that's the point it's taking. So it's actually a statement that says a lot. If you want to drown, if you want to save a person, you want to save that person, not the clothes. The clothes come along, that's one thing, that is the real situation, if that was really happening. But then Srila Prabhupada is using it as a man fallen into an ocean of nations who doesn't understand the real self. You cannot save the person by simply rescuing the body or dealing with body things only. One who does not know this and laments for the outward dress is called a Shudra, or one who laments unnecessarily. And so Srila Prabhupada is saying, well, Arjuna is a Kshatriya, and Kshatriya should know better, and this conduct was not expected from him. So, what is Arjuna going through? Arjuna is in the verge of tears. In fact, he is crying, he's lamenting, he's looking at the situation that he's facing. He's a very trained, well-trained Kshatriya, but those that he was going to fight, the fact that he had to fight against them was the issue. So he was having material compassion on them. Compassion itself is not a bad quality to have, but where you put it is the issue. Sometimes one has to be nice, and sometimes one does not have to be nice. As my spiritual master puts it, there's hard love and then there's soft love. We know we have children, sometimes they do things that are negative, they do things that are not in their own self-interest, they do things that will not, if we don't say anything about it, would make them not balance people in the future if we just allow that habit, which is a bad habit, to go on. So out of love for them, we might take on a hard stance against what they're doing to make, bring the message to them. That's still compassion. That's still compassion, because if we left it alone, down the line, they'll be not well brought up people. In fact, there's a story that my spiritual master says about this. And it involved, I don't know whether it's a true story, because he didn't say it, but it was a story that happened. A young man and his mother. Obviously, the mother was a parent, the mother raised this child when he was younger. But she raised this child, giving the child everything that this boy asked for. She didn't train the child. He just gave him, you want this, whatever you want you can have. And so among the friends of this boy, who also weren't being trained well, this person developed bad habits. And so as he grew up, he got into bad company and he got in trouble with the law. And he was arrested and jailed, tried and jailed. And in jail, you have plenty of time to think about all kinds of things. And so he thought back, and he knew other friends who had made it. They were going to school, they were well trained, and he's looking at it and says, I obviously don't like being in this jail, but what happened? He's reflecting on his life. His mother loved him very much, and so she came to visit one time. She came to visit him. And this is a little gross, but I'll still say it like my spiritual master said. So when she came and they got time together in one room, this is what the jail people do. They allow you to relate to whoever is coming to visit you separately. Of course, there are cameras watching you and all of that. And so the young man asked his mother, I want to tell you something, but you have to come closer to me to hear it. And so his mother came close, and the boy said, come closer. The mother came closer and closer and closer, so he could just whisper whatever he wanted to say into his mother's ear. You know what he did? He bit his mother's ear. And the mother screamed, why did you do that? And then he told her, it's because of you that I'm here. If you had brought me out properly, I wouldn't be here. I have friends who are doing well, and look at me. And why? Because I didn't know better. Everything I asked you gave me, but you never trained me. And so I took training from whoever I could find outside, and they're here and I'm here. I didn't need to be here. So it is important as parents that we train our children properly, including telling them, or what, as my spiritual master likes to put it, hard love when it's necessary, chastisement when it's necessary. So Arjuna this is slightly different. Material compassion. Arjuna is doing what's not necessary according to the way Krishna sees it. So, material compassion and real compassion, compassion which is connected with the spiritual, okay, we're going to look at both of them now. devotees show compassion, and we are supposed to. Now, there are a number of ways to define compassion. One definition, especially for devotee, is to be ready to take the place of someone who is suffering. To feel such empathy for that person that you would be, even if you didn't do it, you could be convinced that given that situation, I would take on this person's suffering to relieve that person. Vasudev Datta was one of those. Vasudev Datta, a pure devotee of the Lord, at the time that Lord Gauranga Mahaprabhu, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was here, he actually was so compassionate towards all living entities who were in a sinful life that he wanted to take on all of the sins and suffer perpetually in hell to be able to release all of those. In other words, he wanted Krishna to forgive them, and he wanted to suffer for their sins so that they can go back to the spiritual world and he would stay in a hellish situation to take on the punishment. Lord Chaitanya was very touched when he heard that Vasudeva Datta was actually thinking like that. And he told Vasudeva Datta it's not necessary to go through it. But you see, this is the heart of a devotee. Ready to take the place of someone who is in fact suffering. Now, such a person becomes a candidate for the mercy of the Lord. More the soul touches those things, that type of thinking and that type of determination to do it, if it comes to that. Now, another definition of compassion, we say it as devotees. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhve evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. The translation is, I offer my respectful obeisances to all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and they are full of compassion for the fallen and conditioned souls. So, if we say we're devotees, then this applies to us. So then, we need to live a life of compassion. Now we'll talk about that a little later. So, devotees are ones who are willing to fulfill the spiritual desires of everybody, because that's what's most important. So just like desire trees are spiritual trees. They are full of compassion for the fallen and conditioned souls. So, one example, we've talked about Vasudeva Datta, another pure devotee of the Lord, Sanatana Goswami, who was also very, very compassionate. When he left government work and came to Lord Chaitanya and wound up by Lord Chaitanya's instruction in Vrindavan, he was doing his bhajan, he was writing, but he was also very much concerned about the people. And so what he did, this is the signs of compassion he was showing, he knew that people have all kinds of material problems. And he was helping them to solve their problems, the material problems, literally. He was helping them with material problems. But he was doing that as a way to earn their trust. Because he was very, very wise. And of course he was a pure devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So first he would listen to whatever situation that the people were going through in Vrindavan. And then he will give them advice. And then after the advice, he will connect it with Krishna consciousness. So that way he preaches to them. So he starts materially, but he also preaches in the end. So they were getting their solutions. The people were getting their solutions, but at the same time, they were connecting with Krishna because of the trust that was built in Sanatana Goswami by his approach. Sanatana Goswami also gave a touchstone to a person who wanted lots of wealth. The interesting thing is, he himself did not want to use the touchstone. He kept the touchstone in a pile of garbage, actually. And the person who got it got a lot of wealth because the touchstone could change metal into gold. But then he got to thinking, this person that received the touchstone, yeah, so much wealth is there, but he's thinking, Sanatana Goswami kept this under a pile of garbage. So that tells me he's got something better than a touchstone. So then he returned to Sanatana Goswami and spoke his mind. He says, you've given me this, it gives me so much wealth, but you didn't even want it. And where you kept it was not even one of the places that would keep something supposedly valuable. So you must have something better. Sanatana Goswami said, yes. And so the man asked, can I have that? Sanatana Goswami said, yes, you may. Raise your hands. He did. Says, now you repeat after me. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, actually there's one thing before that. Sanatana Goswami put a condition on him. He said, if you want better, you have to throw away the touchstone. And so the man had a choice to make. It was something better. He threw the touchstone away before he got this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That tells you the potency, at least in the mind of Sanatana Goswami, as to the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Krishna has come in this age in the form of his name. The Hare Krishna Mahamantra is Krishna. And Krishna, once you have Krishna, touchstone doesn't compare to Krishna. Krishna is everything and owns everything. So when you have Krishna in your corner, then you have everything. Not just the touchstone. Touchstone can give you wealth, but it's material wealth. And who stays with material wealth forever? Death comes to take it all away. And so Krishna, that's forever. Krishna consciousness is forever. Therefore, Sanatana Goswami really gave him the mercy, was compassionate on this person, and when he was ready to put the material thing aside, then he got the spiritual. So, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, a fallen man in an ocean of nations cannot be saved simply by rescuing his outward dress. The outward dress is gross material body involved in material life. So ultimately, what Srila Prabhupada is saying is, material life is unimportant. It's become necessary for us now. We are not these bodies. We are the spirit soul, but we are covered by these bodies and we are in the material world. Therefore, we have to take care of the soul inside the body. So we can't ignore the body. So it's become necessary to take care of the body. So it's a matter of necessity and not importance. Important things spiritual, but for a period of time, a short period of time, thankfully in Kali Yuga, we have to stay in these material bodies. So there is no lasting value in the material body because it's temporary. That's one. And the second point is, the material body doesn't get us back to Krishna Sabodh. Needless to say, it doesn't go anywhere. It stays here, either gets buried or it gets cremated. So the best use of the material body is to connect the activities that we have directly or indirectly with Krishna consciousness. And in this Kali Yuga, the yajna is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. It is the easiest yajna you can make it anywhere. Because the other yajnas involve preparation, Krishna consciousness. Chanting doesn't involve any preparation. As soon as you open your mouth comes a mantra. So it's easy and we should take advantage of it. Grihastas, and most of us are grihastas, one of the things that we charge for is charity. Grihastas in the four ashrams are the ones that give more, because we're more in touch with material energy, work, money, and so on. So charity and compassion go together. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 17, text 20, Srila Prabhupada describes in the purport a few things about charity. Charity has to be done with good concern for the person that is on the receiving end of the charity. Srila Prabhupada says charity to the poor is sometimes given out of compassion. But if a poor man, and this is directly Srila Prabhupada saying, if a poor man is not worth giving charity to, then there is no spiritual advancement. In other words, indiscriminate charity is not recommended in the Vedic literature. So then what is charity in the proper perspective and charity in the non-proper perspective? So let's give an example. A person that says that they are hungry, give me money. There's a difference here. I didn't say give me food, I said give me money. Now, you may give the person money, thinking that they're going to buy food with it, but as soon as you give him money, he has control over what he does with it, whether it's food or not. And some of them that have bad habits like drinking, they might decide they want to go use the money to get something to drink, even though they may be genuinely hungry. But the way the mind is, and the way Maya can control the mind, sometimes this gets done. And so, when the person is really hungry, as best as we could, we should give prasad. Because physically, it will deal with the hunger, and spiritually, they've got Krishna, Krishna's mercy. So both, then we have, we've done very good to this person, because now we have in fact put the seed of devotion and also dealt with the hunger. So sometimes, depending on the situation, we may have to say no to giving money to a particular personality if it's not going to help in the spiritual advancement. So in general, when we're giving charity, it should be such that there is some spiritual advancement that's given. If it is a person, if it is society, if it is whatever it is, the easiest one obviously if you give to a temple, because their business is Krishna consciousness. Therefore, money will be used in that way for Krishna consciousness. So that, and a person who's also full-time involved in Krishna consciousness, like a sannyasi, they use that for their upkeep, but basically everything you're doing is in Krishna consciousness anyway. And if it's a bona fide person, then it's always a good idea to give charity to such a person. The pure devotees of the Lord showed so much compassion. Advaita Acharya in Srimad Bhagavatam is described when Advaita Acharya Prabhu saw that total human society was full of materialistic activities. People were not taking devotion service seriously, and he knew that to get out of the threefold miseries of material existence, we have to involve ourselves in devotion service. Then he made a decision. Out of compassion, his causeless compassion for the society, human society, he prayed for the Lord himself to come. And he prayed continually. He worshipped the Lord with water, the Ganga, and then the Tulasi leaf to get the Lord to appear and to bring the mantra forcefully, happily, in a very determined way. And this is the way Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda actually brought out the Hare Krishna mantra very enthusiastically. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everyone benefited because Advaita Acharya invited Lord Gauranga to come. In Kali Yuga, about 530 years ago, he came. And he spent only 48 years here, but every day of his life was wonderful and in fact beneficial for the planet in general. So, Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Devotees show compassion. In general, devotees can show compassion as far as the preaching work and also the Sankirtan movement, the congregational chanting of the holy names of the Lord. In the universe, everything is connected to everything else. So even if we chant in one place, like this very room here, the vibrations go out. And the vibrations affect all entities. And so by chanting here, you might think just a few of us, but we raise the vibrations of this particular planet. So everywhere that devotees are chanting, they are helping to raise the vibration of this. So it's a thing that we should take very seriously. And as Lord Gauranga said, there's no hard and fast rules. You can chant. You don't have to be an expert singer. You can just chant from your heart. That's all that really matters. Okay. Now, another personality, very important personality, the one who spoke the Srimad Bhagavatam to Maharaj Pariksit, Shukadev Goswami. Shukadev Goswami in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 3, this is for Shukadev Goswami in particular. The translation is, let me offer my respectful obeisances unto him, Shuka, the spiritual master of all sages, the son of Vyasadeva, who out of his great compassion for gross materialists who struggle to cross over the darkest regions of material existence, spoke this most confidential supplement, Vedanta Sutra, to the cream of Vedic knowledge, supplement to the cream of Vedic knowledge, after having personally assimilated it by experience, because he learned from his father. Speaking of the Srimad Bhagavatam was an extremely important event. 7 days of Shukadev Goswami speaking and Maharaj Pariksit hearing, and all that came, a lot of sages, highly qualified sages were also there, including Sutta Goswami, who later on spoke to other sages in the Naimisharanya forest. Srimad Bhagavatam, to just speak it, and as he did, as Shukadev Goswami did, and for Srila Prabhupada to translate it and have it available to the whole world is a great show of compassion. Because the knowledge in Srimad Bhagavatam is knowledge that cannot be compared to any other situation. Not in the universities. Universities are places of ignorance practically if you compare it to Srimad Bhagavatam. But there's so much knowledge in there. Practically all subjects are covered in Srimad Bhagavatam. There's the science, there's the art, there's so many things that are not even known yet. Even time is covered. Much, 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 much more in detail than the scientists know. So, Srimad Bhagavatam is a gift. It's Krishna, but it's a gift, a big gift, spiritual gift at this point. And since by Srila Prabhupada's mercy, it has been released from its language, the language it was now, to other languages with the purpose to explain it more. But it all started with Shukadev Goswami speaking to Maharaj Pariksit for 7 days. And so both of them, Maharaj Pariksit and Shukadev Goswami, showed compassion to the whole world dealing with Srimad Bhagavatam. Then Vyasadeva, Shukadev Goswami's father, he also showed compassion by bringing up the Vedas. The great sage thought it wise that writing the Vedas would enable men to achieve the ultimate goal of life. So this was done in stages. He compiled Mahabharata, okay, which has situations where you can learn from, and then up and higher to the philosophical ways of things, the Mahabharata, then to, well, inside Mahabharata is Bhagavad Gita, and then Srimad Bhagavatam, which opens your eyes even more, and then the ones that came after, Chaitanya Charitamrita especially, which is a description not only of Lord Chaitanya's life here, but how he related to the devotees, and how the devotees related to him. So Srimad Bhagavatam is the details about spiritual life, and then The Chaitanya Charitamrita, and for that matter, Chaitanya Bhagavat, because they speak the same thing in different details, that tells you how a devotee lives his life or her life. So you have the part spoken by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, and a part spoken by Krishna's devotees, and sometimes the incarnation of Krishna himself, also in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which gives you more detail, and then living proof of how life is lived based on devotion in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So basically we have it all. And this is the compassion of the Lord and the Lord's devotees that's made all of this happen. And so for us, we have to take advantage of it. One more example is after the Kurukshetra war. So Ashwatthama was still in his mood of trying to cause more trouble. He killed Draupadi's 5 sons, and even Duryodhana did not approve of that. But still, Ashwatthama caused this problem, killing the general for the Pandava side, Drishtadyumna, at night when he was sleeping, and going after the sons of Draupadi also. Now, for that kind of horrible deed, he had to be punished. So Krishna and Arjuna got him. I've changed the form of it. He threw up a master, trying to save himself by going on the attack. But they still got him. Now, when they brought him to where all the other Pandavas were, and Draupadi was there too, then Bhima was saying, well, he's a Kshatriya, he's committed grievous offense, he should be killed. But Draupadi's compassion kicked in. Draupadi was compassionate, not on Ashwatthama directly, but what Ashwatthama stood for. Because Ashwatthama's father already was dead, Dronacharya was dead, so Kripi, Dronacharya's wife, was now without a husband. The only person left related directly to Kripi was Ashwatthama. So if you get rid of Ashwatthama, then the father is dead because of the war. Now the son is also killed. And Draupadi was looking at the situation of my own sons have been killed, so I know what it feels like to lose my sons. And now Kripi is also going to lose his one son if the punishment given to him, Ashwatthama, is death. And so out of compassion, he described what I've just talked about. And for that, he said that there should be a different kind of punishment given to him. Nobody was not against punishing Ashwatthama, but killing him because other people, including Kripi especially, would suffer from it. Then he said that we should not kill him. So the arguments were, one should not tolerate the humiliation of a member of a great family. Now, Arjuna and his family, they were indebted to Dronacharya because Dronacharya trained them. And Ashwatthama happens to be Dronacharya's son. Okay? And so they were looking back at, but we learned this military science from this man's father. And the other point was, so if ingratitude, so this is all points that come from Srimad Bhagavatam, ingratitude, lack of gratitude, were shown to a benevolent family, it would not be justified from a moral standpoint. The reason being that Dronacharya has trained them, and so why should we not show gratitude to Dronacharya, despite what Ashwatthama had done? And then the other part of it was, we talked about already, the wife of Dronacharya, Kripi. He was half the body of the great soul. She has to be treated with compassion, and she shouldn't be put into grief because of her son's death. And so this was all brought up by Draupadi, and Yudhishthira supported it. Bhima was saying he should be killed. Just, punishment is punishment. But then, and he's not wrong in that sense, he's not wrong, but then because of compassion. So devotees show compassion. And there are devotees traveling around the world. Most of us Gnostics do that. What do? They ask people to revert from the material lifestyle to a spiritual lifestyle. Those who are in the spiritual lifestyle, they give them moral encouragement, they give spiritual encouragement to go on with the royal path of devotion. So this is also compassionate work on their part. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 5, Text 3, this is part of the speech, the beginning of the conversation between Maitreya Muni and Vidura. So in 353 Bhagavatam, Vidura is asking a question, very important question. In fact, he's asking Maitreya to open up detailed discussion about devotional service. But before he asked that question is in 354. So 353 was the text before that. He said, "Oh my Lord," this is Vidura speaking to Maitreya, "great philanthropic souls, those who give charity, they travel on earth on behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead to show compassion to the fallen souls who are against being subordinate to the Lord, who are averse to the sense of subordination to the Lord." This is when a person is averse or a person is against being subordinate to the Lord, that person is a demon. Demons are the ones that like to control rather than to submit to the authority of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the purport of this particular text, Srila Prabhupada says, to be obedient to the wishes of the Supreme Lord is a natural position of every living entity. But due to past misdeeds, a person, a living being, becomes against or averse to the sense of subordination to the Lord and therefore suffers all the miseries of material existence. So this is our problem. When we don't want to be subordinate to the laws of God, then we are in the laws of Maya, and Maya gives us suffering. And so one has a choice, and this is why we are at the border, choosing either to be with Krishna, with light, or to be with Maya or darkness. So no one has anything to do but render devotional service to Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. This is a very heavy statement when you think about it. No one has anything to do but render devotional service to the Supreme Lord. This is the life of those who are in the spiritual world. That's all they do. They render service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, any other activity outside of transcendental loving service to the Lord is more or less a rebellious act against the supreme will. And this is true if you think about it. All fruitive activity, all empirical philosophy and mysticism are more or less against the sense of subordination to the Supreme Lord, and any living entity engaged in such rebellious activity is more or less condemned by the laws of nature, which work under the subordination of the Lord. So what's being said here, Srila Prabhupada is here. One, our life should be about rendering devotion service, directly or indirectly. Whatever we're doing, even with material, we should always connect something spiritual to it. If you're cooking, well, of course you're cooking because you want to offer to the Supreme Personality. But even while you're doing that, knowing what you're doing, you could be listening to kirtans, you could be listening to bhajans, you could be listening to lectures. So all of those, the mind is actually fully engaged. Service and also hearing. And hearing the mantra. So Srila Prabhupada says, any activity other than transcendental service to the Lord, when a person doesn't want to involve themselves in transcendental loving service to the Lord, then that person is rebelling against the supreme will. Because that's real life. That is real life. Serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, fruitive activity, things that we want for ourselves. Empirical philosophy, things that people talk about other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And those who want to be powerful and they go through mysticism. They are all, those people who are that way are thinking of themselves as controllers rather than being subordinate to the Supreme Lord. So, unalloyed devotees, they travel the whole world over. They are compassionate souls because they are always talking about bringing the souls back to Godhead, all souls back to Godhead. And such pure devotees, Srila Prabhupada ends it, that they carry the message of Godhead in order to deliver the fallen souls, and therefore the common one, a man who is bewildered by the influence of external energy of the Lord, should make themselves available for the association of these great souls. So compassion is shown in many ways, but the material compassion, Srila Prabhupada says, that's like saving the outward dress of a person that's drowning. It doesn't help anything. Compassion should always be connected with spiritual activity. Then it is in the right context. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So any questions or comments about this one? Okay. So if there are no questions, then I think we can go on. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Itai Gaura Premanandi.